Vladimir Lenin, one of the most renowned leaders of all time. He fought against the government, and as that he established the Soviet Union in Russia. His statue on every street corner, picture on every building. His legacy was very known. On one person view, he created a good cause for Russia, but conflict to another. Vladimir Lenin was born on April 22, 1870 in Simbirsk, Russia. His real name was Vladimir Ilyich. He had a well-educated family. Lenin was third of 6 children. School was the main part of his life. He was a prodigy, learning how to read at age 3. Lenin enrolled at Kazan University to study law. His school term was short as he was expelled on taking part in student demonstrations. Lenin was still available to take the test as he passed and received his law degree. A situation came in the year 1887. Lenin's older brother, Alexander, was executed on planning to assassinate the Emperor Alexander III. Exiled to his grandfather's estate in the village of Kukishino due to suspicious activities from the police. Vladimir engaged himself in literature like the book What Is It to Be Done, talking about revolutionary politics. In January 1889, Lenin declared himself a Marxist. He left Siberia in the mid-1890s to start a new life in St. Petersburg. He met many Marxists on which increased their active role in their activities. Their activities didn't go unnoticed, and in December 1895, Lenin was exiled to Siberia for 3 years. His wife Nazita Kupitsaka joined him. He returned to St. Petersburg and stepped on revolutionary movement at the Second Congress of the Russian Social Democratic Labor Party in 1903, on which he said, "We will overturn Russia." One of his famous quote is, "A revolution is impossible without a revolutionary situation. Furthermore, not every revolutionary situation leads to a revolution." From Vladimir Lenin. In 1904, Russia went to war with Japan. After defeats, the country's domestic budget was low. On January 9, 1905, a group of unarmed workers in St. Petersburg took concern to submit a petition to Emperor Nicholas II. They were greeted by security forces who fired and killed hundreds. The crisis set for the Russian Revolution of 1905. The emperor issued his October Manifesto, offering up several political concessions, most notably the creation of elected legislative assembly known as the Duma. During World War I, Lenin went into exile in Switzerland. His mind focused on revolutionary politics. In 1916, he wrote a book called The Higher Stage of Capitalism. A tired, dreaded war in 1970 deposed the Tsar family. Lenin rushed back from Switzerland, decided to establish a party called the Soviet Union where it could be overrun by workers, peasants, and soldiers. In the late 1970s, Lenin led what was soon to be known as the October Revolution. 3 years of civil war followed. The Lenin-led Soviet government faced incredible odds. The anti-Soviet forces, or Whites, led mainly by former Tsars, generals, and admirals, fought desperately to overthrow Lenin's regime. They were aided by World War I allies who supported the group with money and troops. Lenin launched as what is called the Red Terror, a vicious campaign to eliminate the opposing threats. In 1918, Lenin survived an assassination attempt. His health was mostly the same, as bullet wounded him. In 1921, Lenin faced with trouble. The country broke out, attacking the stability of Lenin's government. In 1922, Lenin suffered a stroke, as his health later in the year declined. In early 1923, he issued what came to be called as his testament, in which a regretful Lenin expressed remorse over dictatorial power that dominated the Soviet government. He was particularly disappointed with Joseph Stalin, the General Secretary of the Communist Party, who had begun to amass the great power. On January 21, 1924, he passed away with his corpse unveiled in Moscow's Red Square. When Lenin died, the Soviet Union crumbled, and on December of 1991, Russia became a democracy by the Cold War. Even though his government fell, his establishment of the ideas was branched to many countries like North Korea, Cuba, China, and Vietnam. His leadership has set new ideas and left to other countries as his legacy. Was he known as a great leader to the people or a monster to another?